All right, guys, welcome. I'm super excited to be here tonight. My name is Tiffany. I am going to go over a couple of scanners with you guys. Before I get started, I just wanted you guys to know that this is education purposes only. I am not an expert, okay? I'm learning this just as much as you guys are. But I've been really focusing on the scanners because I find them to be very helpful, especially whenever it's super crazy. We still have school here. My husband's back in office a lot of the time, and so I'm getting back to that routine. I don't always have time to hop on the lives in the morning or to sit down and chart in the morning. And so I've been leaning into the scanners. And today we're actually going to talk about trend wave, and we're going to talk about kill shot and the new supernova. If you guys haven't seen, they released it today. It goes with kill shot. So I'm really freaking excited because the two of them hand in hand are phenomenal. So those are the ones that we're going to be working on this week. I'm just going to share my screen in case you guys don't know how to get to these. Oh, share. We are going to do this guy. All right. Let me know when you guys can share yours or see my screen. Let me know when you can see my screen. All right. There we go. Thumbs up. Cool. So this is what we are looking at. So if you go to your jifulive.com, this is like the main hub. You're going to come down to scanners, click scanners, and it's going to pop up all of these beautiful different scanners that you can choose. We've got the Golden Era, Trend Wave, Smart Scanner, Smart Monix, Killshot, Sniper Pro, and Supernova. I wanted to start with the trend wave first. And the reason why I wanted to do that one is because this one to me is super, super easy. It's for those of you who don't like to scalp and actually like to hold longer trades. I was talking to Sydney about this the other day, and I'm a scalper. And so holding these longer trades, I'm like, I don't know what to do. And so these really help with that. And I'm super excited. So the trend wave, and I have my notes because I'm still learning all this. So the trend wave, the breakdown of this is basically it's built to help you spot clean trades across different styles, which can be a position, a swing trade, or even a scalp. You can still use this for a scalp. So no matter what your schedule or risk tolerance is, the scanner can support you in the different ways that you're moving. There's a lot of information on the scanner when you look at it. It looks very intimidating. And so I just want to take a moment to break down what each of these little indicators and things on here, because once you understand them, they're really, really simple to go along with. So obviously we have these arrows. There's one right here that's green. There's another green one that's right here. We got a little red one that's over here. We have all these different colored arrows. So those are actually the indicators that are going to let you know or give you an idea based on the trend breakout. So if you see a green arrow, that green arrow is going to tell you, hey, this is probably a good idea to start looking for a potential buy. If you see a red arrow, that red arrow is going to also say, hey, here's a potential for either a short or a sell. And so a lot of the cells on here are considered shorts instead of longs. And then you got your longs that are going to be the green ones, which are typically longer than what the shorts are. I do know that you have like your when you do the indicators on Trade Locker, you have the long and shorts. It's the same concept. They're just using them in a different way. I do know that the shorts typically do go into like a different kind of dynamic than the longs. The longs tend to really go super, super long. The shorts don't typically do it that much. And it could just be the trend of where things are going. And so the setups that they have here, so like here's a really super short right here. The setups for them can be really minimum or they could be expanded very long. Here's a really short long as well too. That's kind of Emmy here between this guy. And then we also have like all these other different indicators. So we have those. So the next thing that we're going to talk about, so we've got the global and local trend. Those are going to be your EMA and your SMA lines. Those are what these little guys are. Not really little, but that's what those lines and those squigglies in betweens are. You can also see if I zoom out, we have support and resistant lines as well. Green is going to be your resistance, red are going to be your support, which is really easy to see on here, which I thought was super nice. But then they also have these trades that you can take. So right now I'm looking at gold in the 1 hour time frame, and it's saying, hey, if it was over here up in this area, which it was when you had these nice little, it looks like a blood drop, that is the indicator to sell. The diamonds or the indicators to buy. And so we had this, hey, look, it's short. We got our little red arrow. It does some consolidation, which actually this is not a good scanner to use if it's in consolidation. It doesn't read as appropriate. So you have to still be aware of what the trend's doing. So if the trending is going up or down, or if it's in consolidation, you don't want to use this in consolidation. And it's kind of hard to tell. But if I zoom this in a little bit faster, not faster, but closer, there's this box right here. That is the indicator of, hey, this is in consolidation, or it's looking at, it creates like your little I call it my scalp zone. So it's a consolidation box, but I forgot what they call it. But it's like my little scalp zone. So when I'm wanting to scalp, these are the boxes that I'm looking for, because then I know, oh, I need to sell here, I can buy here, all the different things based off of where it's at in this little box. We also have the entry point right here, and we have this little gold line. And I want to break this up a little bit closer, because I think that might actually help too. There we go. So we have this like gold box that's in here. So this gold guy is called the POC volume level, AKA your support basket. Okay, so this is where the market likes to bounce off of. It likes to test it a few times. And so it's kind of right in the middle of where all of this is, but they call it your, basically, Jay, the way he explained it was that this is your support basket. So it's going to help you know, once it gets to this point, there's a chance that it's going to either bounce off of it, or it's going to start getting itself ready to break through. So you see them most likely whenever you have a consolidation area, but once it breaks through that consolidation, it still pulls it across. So you can say, hey, this was kind of an interesting zone. Be careful. So it gives you a lot of really great information. So we had the red triangle. We got the blue blood dot, as we call it. So right now, this was all setting up for a sell. So now that we know that it's setting up for the sell, we can go back to that 1 hour mark. And you can see the position and the zoning. So the invalidation is going to be your stop loss. The entry is obviously where you're going to want to enter. And then you have your different zones here that you can take for your take profit. Super, super easy. When you look at these spots down here, so this guy down here is called the RSI and the stochastic, I don't think I say that right. But it actually tells you where things have been overbought or oversold. And so when you're looking at these different maps down here, it can give you a really clear indication of the zones that it's in, because even when you get into those closer time frames, you can potentially see little different colored circles on them, which here's some right here. These are also different zones within the trend that people overbought or sold. So depending on the color, depends on if it was a buy, overbought or oversold. So red is overbought and it indicates overbuy zones. Greens are oversells or oversell zones. So these are really great indicators to also say, hey, based off of what's going up top, it's going to have these nice little, hey, this was an overbuy or an oversell. So potentially there's going to be some reversals there as well. And then this guy on the bottom, this one down here, he's kind of a little wonky as well. See if I can zoom him out. So this is the QQ mod. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. But this is actually going to tell you the different areas of, hey, yeah, we had really strong buys here. The gray are indecisive. So this gives you a really good idea about the momentum that the market is going. So clearly, as we got ready for this long buy right here, we had the diamond plus we had the green arrow. We had this really great momentum up. We had this really great entry point. You also have down here where it shows the momentum, but you can also see where there's a lot of overbuys that were happening here. Or not overbuys, I'm sorry. Yeah, overbuys that were happening here. So eventually all of this is going to have to reverse. All of this is going to have to balance itself and correct itself. And so that's how it's coming up to, oh, we had all this great momentum. We had the consolidation. Now we got the indicator of it's time to start selling. And now we have that momentum going down. And here is our potential in taking that sell. With that being said, does anybody have questions? Because that's pretty much the trend wave in a nutshell. There's obviously a lot more breakdown and understanding. There's the different indicators that I mentioned on here is actually broke down in the document section. So if you scroll up, if you scroll up here, it says learn how to use the JIFU scanners. If you click that and you click the scanner that you're using, it'll show you the tutorials that you can watch. It also has the documents that you can download or print out and have these with you that has all of the indicators and all the information on it. The thing that I really love about this, and I'll have Sydney, I'll have Sydney send you guys, there's actual strategies that goes with these scanners. So when you're using the trend wave, and I'll go back to the actual scanner itself. The different strategies that we have for those, I believe there's 3 of them because there's 3 different ways you can use the trend wave. You can use it in positioning, you can use it in the scalping, and you can also use it in what's the other one? Position, scalping. I think I said it. Position, scalping. Oh, and conditions, swing trades. That's it. So with the swing trading, the time frame that you guys want to use for this is the daily time frame. I actually like using it in the hour mark just because I'm still getting used to getting into the longer holds and the longer trades, and it still works for me. But this is going to be more for that breakout strategy. And so the long setup is you want to look for a downtrend, a pullback, or a trend shift. Once you do that, there's a couple different confirmations. There's a short setup that I've got all the information for, and it even breaks down how to manage it. So this is what I've been using for it. And I was actually messaging Sydney about this the other day. I'm just gonna call you Cindy all night long. I'm trying to talk to you fast, Cindy. I was talking to her about it, and I'm like trying to figure out the best way to keep my trades in profit and make sure that I'm not keeping them too close, because I feel like at the old platform, it was very important that you kept your profits and you stay close to it, because the chances of things reversing, the R&R just wasn't there for me. And so moving here, trying to get used to trusting more in what's going and the educators that we are being presented with, I'm learning the new style and how to protect what I've created, but also make sure that I'm leaving a plenty of room for it to grow, because the R&R in this platform is insane. The risk to reward is just absolutely incredible whenever it comes to these call outs. And so what I've been doing is when you go into a trade, once you hit 10% of that trade, you move your stop loss to break even. Once you then hit 30% in that trade, you move your stop loss to the lowest, to the where you're at that low, the lowest low that's right there, right underneath it. So if it still wants to pull back a little bit, you still have enough space for that. But if it reverses, you're not losing everything that you've got. And then you can trail it that way. A lot of people do recommend taking profits at that. You can take partial profits there. I've just been letting it trail until it takes itself out, and it works phenomenal. And then I don't have to worry about creating any extra TPs or anything that I just let it trail and let the baby fly. So I learned that from practicing with the scanners. So once you get that all broke down, 10%, you do move it to break even. Once it hits the 30%, move it to the lowest low and then trail it. So let it trail as it continues to rise. It'll do what it needs to do. There's also a couple there's the consolidation swing trade strategy. I've got a scalping strategy, and all of those actually have the management with them that came from the trainings that was shared in your library. So I will make sure that Sydney has those, or that Marissa or I drop them into the chats for you guys, so you guys can use those as well. They're also in the training for those different things. So does anybody have any questions about trend wave so far? And I need to find my chat.
I don't, but this is honestly really good.
All right. I'm trying to be a little fast, but not too fast. So if I'm talking too fast, let me know because the next one that we're going into is a lot more information. But Trendwave, I like this one because like I said, if you're busy and you just don't have time to look at anything or you have no idea what you're doing, if you can understand that basics that I just shared, you can place trades and you don't have to worry about it. I do check on mine because, like I said, once you hit that 10% or that 30%, you want to make sure you're moving your stop losses just to protect your trade. But honestly, just watching these, you can go back and you can see pretty much every single one of these, unless there's some kind of news that interrupts the market, hits those TP4s, those TP5s, which I think are just freaking phenomenal. So that's really fun and really reassuring. All right. If there's no questions, I don't think so, Adriana. Then we will move to my second favorite, actually, probably my third favorite, but I wanted to do this one because I wanted to make sure that we were getting you guys this information because they just dropped out the new supernova to go with it as well. So let me share my screen again. So we are going to look at kill shot, and kill shot has a lot more to it than what trend wave has. But this is the one that Jay uses the most. I believe it's Jay. All right. I gotta switch over my notes again. I actually sat with him live whenever he sat down and broke this down and Supernova, so I was really, really excited. So yes, this one is Jay. This is the one that Marissa and Sydney like to follow in the mornings. He does opening bell. And I believe that, what's his name, Manny? Am I saying his name right? Manny has actually helped create pretty much all of these. And what's really fun is when you get into the training, so especially with Supernova, or not Supernova, Sniper Pro and Killshot, there's so many indicators running in the background that helps create these more so in Sniper Pro than what is in Killshot. I think Sniper Pro, he said there's like 10 or 15 plus indicators in the background that are helping create these scanners and making sure that everything's lining up for that validation of yes, this is what's actually setting itself up for, which I think is awesome. Kill shot is more of your scalping style scanner. It helps analyze when you start looking at this, you want to analyze, and we're looking at US 30 right now because I think it had a really clean setup. When you start looking at the kill shot, you want to look at it at the 15-minute time frame. Once you do this 15-minute time frame, it gives you the indication of what is happening with the trend of the market. So if we're looking at this and we're just assuming what's going on, you can see how it's going in that upward trend. I know it's kind of zoomed in pretty close. Um, but we had a little bit of consolidation here, but we're still in that upward momentum. As I zoom it out, you can see how we're going up. So that's what they want you to look at is that get that trend, just kind of see where things are going. This is actually where I really like the Sniper Pro too, because when you jump into Sniper Pro, it tells you, and I will do, we're on US 30. So the little box up here on Sniper Pro, if you're not sure how to do trends or anything like that quite yet because you're brand new, this box right here is fantastic. So you can zoom in, make sure you're on the same time frame, which was the 15 mark time frame. This will tell you what the trend is. Right now, it's in a bullish trend. So you want to look for buys. You also, it'll tell you if it's trending, if it's consolidating, or if it's pulling back. If it's pulling back, it's kind of like a slingshot. You know, you got to pull back before you can go forward. It'll tell you if it's in very strong, neutral, or very weak. So this can also give you a really good idea what they're trended if you don't know how to do that quite yet. But we're going to go back to a kill shot. It has the same concept in its own creation up here. It'll tell you that if you look at it in the 1 minute, it's in the upward trend. If you look at the 5 or 15 minute, it's going in that downward trend. And so this does give you an idea of what the trend is. It also talks about the volume of it. So if it's in a good momentum, it'll tell you it's in that upper momentum, that good forward momentum, it'll be green. Right now, it's in that lower momentum, so it's showing red and it's showing that it's low. So you know it's not moving very fast. With this guy, there's a lot of indicators that are on here. And the ones that we are going to look over are going to be, and I got to pull my notes up because I want to make sure I'm giving you guys the right ones. All right, kill shot. So kill shot is actually based off of its strategy is a powerful trend-based system engineered specifically for hyper scalping US 30. However, you can still use it for other things besides just US 30, like NAS is a really great one. DAX or German 30 is a great one. Any of those really fast moving ones that people tend to scalp the most, this is going to work for. You can use it on other indices. It's just not built for that kind of stuff. It's built for more of the fast hitters like the US 30 and the NAS. So these are built for speed and accuracy. This is a strategy and it uses a combination of the smart EMAs for real-time trend detection, automatic support, and resistant levels for precision entries and TDI star system to identify key market structures and shifts. What I love about this as a scalper is each one of these stars are different indicators. So when you're looking at this, you obviously have your EMAs, which if you're new to trading, you may not have any idea what that means. That's okay. We'll get you there, okay? But all you have to know is a lot of educators use the EMA lines to trade. That's what these red and these blue lines are going to be. And typically when they cross is when you're going to see one of these big green or red stars, okay? Not always, but most of the time that's what you're going to see. And that is what you're looking for are those two lines to cross because that means there's going to be a change in the direction of the trend and what it is going. And so it can set you up for that buy or for that sell. Hence why it's kill shot. Once it hits that spot, it's going to give you that star, and then you can go forward from there. So it's going to give you those buy or those sell signals. The different stars. So when you're looking at the stars, obviously the green is going to be for a buy. The red, you're going to look for a sell. These yellow guys, these are indicators that, hey, this is a lower level reversal area. So yeah, it's going to pull back a little bit, but it's not going to be a major pullback that you have to worry about it reversing on you. These blue guys, they are going to be for those medium pullbacks. So these guys are going to pull back a little bit farther than what you probably feel comfortable with, but they don't cross over into, typically they don't cross over into or break that lower low or that higher high from before. Does it happen? Yes, absolutely, but not always. So that is where watching your EMA lines and making sure they're not getting too close is going to help you in determining, hey, is this going to continue to pull back and break that higher high or that lower low? That's where those lines are going to come into play. Okay, hope that makes sense. And then obviously the red stars, those are going to be during a buy or an upward trend. You get one of these big red guys. That is the system saying, hey, it's looking like it's going to reverse. Get ready for, a sell. If it's green, it looks like it's going to reverse and get ready for a buy. Here is that support basket that we were talking about as well too. And the actual term of that is the 238. I knew I had it around here somewhere. So this is the 238, AKA the support basket. So this is the guy that you're going to see. And actually this shows it a lot more clear about where it tends to like to bounce off of. It'll come up here and it'll bust through, but then it'll come back up and then it'll come back down and then it's going to go back up. So this is going to be close to what you can determine on how the trade or the trend is going to continue to go based off of the different stars, which is called star chasing whenever you're doing this live, and that support line. This is always changing as the market continues to move, as everything continues to move, this will move. So when you're using kill shot, you want to use it in 3 minutes or less when you're actually scalping. So we only use the 15-minute to get a clear idea of what the market is doing, making sure it's not in consolidation, because this just doesn't work if it's in consolidation or the market is just bouncing back and forth. It doesn't work very well. So when we break this down into the smaller, actually, I'm going to go down to the 1 minute because I believe that's where Jade trades in, is the 1 minute. So when we break it down into the 1 minute, it looks completely different. And that is because you are scalping those smaller, quick hits. These are supposed to be in and out fast trades. These aren't trades that you're going to hold for a long time. So these faster hits are going to be a lot quicker as far as watching the kill shot. So this is one that you'll actually want to sit and pay attention to whenever you're scalping. We have the green support and resistance. So this is going to be your resistance level or your higher high. And then you've got your red, which is going to be your, I said that wrong. Green is resistance, red is support. Got you. So you got your higher high and your lower lows. So those are also going to help you determine where these zones are that this is staying into. For those of you who trade with Marissa, this is really similar to what she does. If you can zoom this out a little bit, you can see those different areas. It's like a ladder, is how I've always known it. I like to do the MA breaks with the other platform. It's the same concept. They show you where those higher highs and those lower lows are. So you don't have to do that. It's already done for you. Okay, so we talked about the different indicators. We talked about the different things. So when you're looking at the kill shots, one of the things that you want to do is you want to make sure, and I don't actually see one here. So I'm going to go to gold. US 30 wasn't moving enough. They need to have a faster way to like actually get these to like zoom in and out. These are awful. Okay, so let me see if I can find. Here we go. All right. So when you're looking at this, we're still in the 1 minute mark. We have these red and blue triangles again. So the blue triangle is going to represent a buy, whereas the red triangle is going to represent a sell. When you see these triangles, you want to make sure that they are lining up with the way the trend is going, because this guy right here isn't exactly in the best position, okay? So when you're looking at this, yes, we have the green down here, but this guy to indicate buy is way too far away. So this would not have been a good opportunity to have buy in. So this is where watching your EMA lines is going to also be beneficial for you. Same thing with this guy. This guy is not in a really good position for a buy. Could you scalp that? Absolutely. But if you look at it, it drops down right away and then it bounces right back up off of that support basket. And then we go straight into a sell. So these are the things that you'll have to really pay attention to when scalping, which makes it a little bit more complex than what that trend wave scanner does. So you get over here, you got a red kill shot, which is a sell. You have a red triangle, but then you also have a green kill shot here. Pretty confusing, right? Once again, you want to make sure that you're paying attention to the trend because it looks like it's consolidating here. And once it's consolidating, it does not work like it's supposed to. So this is why Jay says, don't use this if you're in a consolidation section of the trend. But when you get over here, we have the kill shot, we have the red arrow. Look at this beautiful drop that we've got. That would have been one heck of a snipe. If you were actually scalping that, this would have been like a golden treasure. This would have been phenomenal. And then you have your green, and then you go all the way back up. So does anybody have any questions about this quite yet? And let me see if I can see the chat. We're good? All right, sweet. So when we're looking at this, how many of you guys have complained or wanted to know, how do you know when the market is reversing and when to jump in? I know I have. I suck at that. Like I always got in at the worst times. This is where you want to go over to Supernova. So here's the thing with Supernova. Supernova is not quite up to the standards that Jay wants it. There's an indicator that's currently not syncing, but they are working on it. However, they went ahead and released it to us today, which I'm really excited about because the entire purpose of this indicator is to tell you how to get in or when to get in on reversals. All right. I have so many notes. Like I really dug into this. So when you're looking at the supernova, it is going to look very similar to the kill shot that we were just looking at. And I actually want to go back to gold because that's where we were. Uh, okay, so we're back in that 1 minute mark. Look at these beautiful, sweet indicators that tell you when to buy and sell. The way that these work is they added the three white crows, the three black crosses, or the three white soldiers, however you know that indicator. And basically, what it does is once you get that kill shot, instead of waiting for three candles to match, so you basically have to have three of the same closing candles. So you got, and this guy's actually got a gold candle right here. So gold candle is really good. Those you want to see. Those are like, yes, like this is a strong trend, like let's go. But when you have three of these indicators, these not indicators, candles that match, that is saying yes, that the trend is actually moving in the direction that it's going. So when you get over here, the reason why this would have been not the best buy is because if you look within the first 10 candles, you need to have three candles that match whenever it comes to the color. So if you look at here, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, you have a couple of them here that match, but if you understand candles, these aren't the best candles that you actually want to lean into whenever you're going into a buy or a sell. You want more candles like these guys, these nice, beefy, full candles, because when they have these extra wicks on them, and I know this is going to be more advanced for those of you who aren't into training, or you're still working on going through the training, when you have these wicks, that means that it didn't actually stay. That momentum wasn't there. That pressure wasn't there to fill the body of the candle. You want full bodied candles. And so over here, we got this kill shot for a sell. Look at these really solid bodied candles. Those are the candles that you're wanting to look for whenever it comes to the market reversing. So that alone is a great like indicator or a great idea when you're looking at something and it's like, hey, you know what? Looks like the market's reversing. Wait for those bodied candles, but they have to be within the first 10 candles. Otherwise, there's not enough momentum for it to continue in the direction that it's wanting to go. It's probably going to pull back again before it continues to shoot off the way that it wants to do. A great example of this would be this guy over here. You have the red candle or the red kill shot. You have the three red candles, but the momentum just wasn't really there. And the candles just got kind of icky, you know? So this wouldn't have been the best place to go. This is the consolidation. So this is again where you're getting those signals, but there's just not enough movement in the market for it to actually really do anything worth trading. It's not giving you enough momentum. Whereas if you come over here and any of these guys, there's a lot more momentum going. There's a lot more movement happening. There's no actual like buy or sell here because we're still kind of going through that consolidation. But as you start getting into these movements, you can start seeing more of the candles are starting to fill. More of the movement is actually starting to happen. These could be potential scalps if you're, you don't really care. But if you want a really good risk to reward, which Jay's risk to reward is set up to be, I think, like 1 to 2 on this. Yeah, 1 to 2 is the goal for these, like when these indicators come up, is a 1 to 2 risk to reward. Will it always get that way? No. Will you get more? Absolutely. It just gives you that comfort and that stability of knowing, hey, this is what I want to do. When you're looking at the supernova, you can tell it doesn't have those little candle stars to tell you, hey, this is going to be like a smaller reversal. Don't worry, hold on, it's going to continue going down. Or, yeah, this is getting really close to where that higher high or that lower low is. Here's the blue candle, watch your like your EMAs, all those things. That is not on here quite yet. That is what they're trying to get fixed. But you can just use this as a good tool of like, hey, here's what I'm looking at. Let's go to the supernova, see where they tell me to buy, see where they don't tell me to buy. Or knowing that 3 candle rule, you can go ahead and implement that to the scanner, the kill shot scanner itself. So that is what I have for the kill shot and for the supernova. Do you guys have any questions? No?
I don't have any, but I know that, like, Tiffany, this is insane. Like, the amount of notes that you took. Like, I was really excited about the scanners, but like actually knowing now what their purposes are and like how they function, like you can trade literally at any point of the day, whether you have like an educator, a live session or not.
Yes. And I meant to say, so for the I do have some strategies to go with the kill shot and the supernova, but there's actual time frames that is really good to use these. And I have it set up, so I'll send that as well. But the best time frame in the Central Standard Time to use the kill shot is in between 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. for the pre-open. You can usually get a clean 100 to 150 pip set up every single time in between 6 and 8 a.m. 8 to 8:45, avoid it. Do not use this between 8 and 8:45. So when people are getting ready for opening bell, pill shot is not the one that you're going to want to use. You're going to want to avoid it because, or if you're already in profits, be sure to protect your position. Make sure that your stop loss is trailing and it is close to where you're at, because opening bell is so volatile right in between that time frame that it just kind of goes wonky and it doesn't work the way that it needs to. But 8:45 to 10 a.m. is actually the ultimate time to use it, because that's when New York and London crosses over. It's the best trading window of the day for this. And then from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., London closes. So that's a high chance of just sideways movement. So you won't want to use it around that time frame as well. You can still use it. It's just not ideal. Like I said, that golden time, two of them, is going to be the 6 to 8 a.m. and then the 8:45 to 10 a.m., which I thought was really cool. But I do have strategies for, like I said, how to use kill shot, the best way to protect your profits, to protect your trade, so that you're not losing money, because scalping can be really, really fast. What's really nice with this is the time frames that he gives you and the time frames that he goes live, because he does use this in his live training sessions for opening bell. He will pull this up and use it, but it's complicated. It's not the best time to use it during those times, just because it's opening bell and your tip, all he trades is US 30, and US 30 is just like NAS. It moves really, really fast. But he also does, I want to say, a session around noon typically, where he goes in here, he dives into this and he uses it on different areas as well. But yeah, trend wave, as super simple as it gets. I love it because, like I said, I can just come in, plug in some stuff. I've got stuff pending right now that I'm like, even if I go to bed, I don't even care. Like, the risk to reward on it is like fantastic. And they're made for those longer swing trades anyway. So it's not so tight. And then whenever I'm just like, you know what? NAS is moving, US 30 is moving, let's go do some scalping. I hop on the kill shot and I just, it's kill shot or sniper pro. I really like sniper pro too. This guy, I wasn't planning on talking about this one, but if you guys don't mind and we still have a few minutes,
Mhm.
we've got this guy, which is even more advanced than kill shots, in my opinion. And you can use this on any indicator. It doesn't have to be just NAS. We are looking at US 30 again. And then over here on this side, you've got your stop loss and your two take profits. He's the one that I also learned from, like once you hit your TP2, move it to that lower low or that higher high and let it trail stop and then just let it run. Like, and his runs are insane. What is his name? Hold on, I have his name. His stuff is crazy. Oh, what is his name? I had to find it. I actually follow him. His favorite word is Pippalicious. He is the Pippalicious King, which I thought was hilarious. But his sticks to those Bollinger Bands, which is what I learned on. This is what you'll see here. So these are actually Bollinger Bands. And the little lines are potential reversals because it's getting ready to hit those higher reversal bands, which I think is amazing. And then down here, it has this is your, I don't think I got the name of this, counter trend. So this is going to tell you where it goes as far as like the trend. And here's your little, those little dots again. Those are going to be pivot points. Those are going to be the areas that it typically likes to reverse or it changes. But when you're looking at this, you've got a lot of different indicators. These arrows are going to tell you which directions everything's moving. It tells you with these little boxes how many indicators are lining up with the same information as far as the buy or the sell. So this guy up here, and they go from 3 to 10. So this guy up here is saying that there's 5 different indicators in the background that is lining up, telling you, yes, this is setting itself up for a sell. This one right here is saying, yes, this is setting you up for a buy. The smaller candles are just the movements, but if I zoom in here, you can see this really big candle with this volume behind it. It is telling you how much momentum is in this candle to continue pushing in the direction that it's pushing. And again, you're scalping, so you're doing those quick buy in your sells. And then you also have this like dotted gray line. It's the support basket, just a different color. I will never not call it the support basket anymore. Like that's to me is my favorite. But you also have the EMAs that are in here as well. So you can see where they're crossing and they're moving and they're changing colors. So obviously I did not go in depth with this one, but the lines over here that has all these crazy little numbers on them, these are the key moments when big banks are using their smart computers to enter in to buys or sells. So these are going to be those areas, especially when you get up here in these kind of smaller Bollinger Band lines of, hey, most people are going to look to buy into here or sell into here based off of where these dotted lines are, because that's when the big smart computer is going to tell them to do it. So those big movements that we're looking for, because we have to have those buy and those sells to balance each other out, those are typically the time frames or the zones that they're going to actually implement. So those are really fun to have. Like I said too, they have this set up over here of, hey, this is what you can do for a potential buy or sell or however you want to do that. When this is the 15 minutes, so if we actually break it down, because when you're scalping, you want to do the smaller time zones. 15-minute gives you the idea. I love that we have the trending guy up here. It's neutral right now, so it's saying that, yeah, it's pulling back. There's just not a lot of momentum. When you see the volume, the only time you would want to be interested in taking a trade is if it's 30% or higher. Anything below 30% is not going to be a successful, well, it could be, but it's not guaranteed to be a successful trade, which they never are a guarantee. But you want to look for these yellow candles, these longer arrows, and these higher volumes. Those are going to be the ones that are going to help set you up for more success whenever it comes to trading. I think that's pretty much it on this one as well. I don't have a whole lot of notes on here. I had the purple line. So we got the pivot points that are on here as well. The psychological banking keys. Um, you can't, oh, the gray bars are for indecision. So if you see any of these bars, actually, there's this one right here. So this guy right here is a gray bar. He's not red or blue. That's because it's an indecision candle. Like it basically is saying like there was no decision on if this was a buy or a sell. It opened and closed in the same. The golden arrow candle is a strong reversal or a larger pullback. And then the super sniper arrows, those are the ones with the longer tails. And actually, I said 30%. You want to look for something that's 40% or higher. So this guy right here, even though he's 40.6, that would be one that you'd be like, what's it look like? With it pulling back and being neutral right now, I probably wouldn't take that candle. But let's go to gold real fast and then I'll be done. I'll wrap it up. Let's do, here we go. So these guys are going to be, there's a lot more movement here. It's hard to actually zoom in on this because of how big of a jump that was. There we go. So you've got your pivot points. You can see the SMA band going through. You can see where it changed right here from being bearish to bullish. You got the different lines that are going through here. You got your support basket that's running along through here. You got some different colored candles. You got your big ones with your sniper arrows. You got little ones. There's a lot of stuff happening in this guy, but what I like is you can use it on anything. The other thing that they have over here on the sidebar, this is going to be your potential reversals. Yeah, making sure I was reading that right. And so the thing that he said that I love is always trade what you see and trade safe. So even if this is showing you something and you just don't see it, don't take the trade. And as always, if you guys want to really dive in on this education and doing like the proper information on it, because I just learning all this week, all that stuff is in the back office. If you go to the trade Trenway, she has a really strong accent and she talks really slow. I actually sped my video up to like 1.5 or 2 and was able to understand her a lot better. But that's just part of my ADHD brain. I'm really fast. But you can read the document as well, the PDF. It's basically the same thing. The only difference is she shows you some examples and some things that you can do with the scanner live. And all of the trainers do that within the training videos of all the scanners, which I think is really good. Sniper Pro has a really good guy. His name is Stedro, I think is what his name is. He does live trading with it. Jay does the kill shot and the supernova, and I can't think of the guy's name who does trend wave. So there's a couple different ones that do different lives throughout the week if you want to actually start trading live with these scanners, which was so helpful with me in understanding how all this works, especially when things weren't lining up like they were showing on the scanners and how to detect that when looking at them. So that's what I have. You guys are fantastic. Thank you so much for this. And I hope you guys really enjoyed just getting a taste and diving into the scanners.
I